wonderfully large crowd for Oh, hey, hey. Can anyone hear this? Excellent. Okay, thank you so much. We are excited to see so many people attending today's. Not yet? Yes, I am on. Will it get any louder? Thank you. Try again. Okay. Thank you for your assistance in getting us started. My name is Charlene Kornoski Duval, and I am the current president for the League of Women Voters, McDonough County. Welcome to today's forum for our candidates who are going to be in the election that takes place in March. Uh, One of the things I'm going to do is a lot of reading, so be prepared. This is my first opportunity to be at this microphone for this particular purpose, and I'm not ashamed to tell you that I'm a newbie at this, okay? We all have to start somewhere. Um, the League of Women Voters, we want to start by thanking the League of Women Voters. Let me start one more time. We want to first thank the Macomb High School, because they're the ones who made it possible for us to have this space and to be able to use this space for tonight's event. We will start there. We also would like to express our thanks in advance for the young men. We have Reed and we have, thank you, Reed, and we have, okay, Reed, help me remember, no, Emerson. Those are the two young men that will come to your aid when you have questions. There's going to be paper that they will be able to distribute. Leave that with you with a pencil. Hopefully you might have a pen. And then when you have your question written, they will come back and bring it to my two guys. They're supposed to be one Democrat and one Republican. Where are you going to be? They are right here. But I also saw one Republican. Where is he? Oh, so I thought it was Dave that was going to be here, but it's you that's going to be here instead of, no, talking about Sally. So you're going to be the one that gets the questions. Okay, the two of you together. Thank you. They are here. The questions will go to them, and they will be the people who will help us decide whether the questions are the kinds of questions that are appropriate for us to be considering for our individuals to speak on. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. We're dedicated to helping voters be informed and encouraging all U.S. citizens to vote. It is part of our tradition to hold nonpartisan candidate forums so that the public can hear from all the candidates who are in contested races, and to allow all the candidates in these uncontested races to at least have some equal opportunity to address the voters. The guidelines for candidates forums, which are set by our national and state organizations, include several rules that are designed to maintain our nonpartisan status. All candidates in contested races receive a letter outlining guidelines to be followed, including this one particular rule. No excerpts from the forum may be quoted in campaign material. By participating in the forum, candidates are indicating that they have agreed to these rules. All the candidates in the contested races were invited to participate. We appreciate those candidates who have agreed to come and speak. We will be taking questions for the candidates of the office of the McDonough County Sheriff, the Illinois Representative District number 94, and the Illinois State District number 36. Again, I'm repeating, if you need paper and pencil to write questions, please raise your hands, and one of the Milo, short for our Macomb Youth Leadership Organization. Students will bring them to you. The students will also collect the questions and bring them to the representatives that I've identified before. Tonight's event is being recorded and live streamed. It will also play on Channel 15 every day, starting on February the 12th until March the 17th. The schedule may be found on the City of Macomb's website and Channel 15's. The recording will also be available on the League of Women Voters YouTube channel, and you will be able to find the link on our Facebook page. Our moderator for tonight, I've had the opportunity to meet, is Rich Edgar. He is the news director at Tri-States Radio. Rich has performed this service for us many times in the past, and we are grateful to have him here again tonight. So, Rich Edgar.
Hey, thanks again for coming on out. And again, we urge you to prepare questions for the candidates at tonight's forum. The first set of candidates we'll be questioning will be for McDonough County Sheriff, so you want to get started on those questions right away. First, though, a couple things. A reminder of the ground rules for tonight's program. No excerpts from the forum may be quoted in campaign materials. All campaign material must be kept outside the venue. Only one candidate from Congressional District 17 is able to be here tonight, and they'll be allowed to introduce themselves, speak for 5 minutes. The remaining candidates, ground rules are that you get 1 minute to introduce yourself. You'll also be given 1 minute to respond to each question, and then there'll be 30 seconds for rebuttal. Timekeepers are right up front here, and they will raise the stop card when time is up, but candidates will be allowed to complete their thought. We invited the county clerk and county treasurer to come tonight because they are new office holders. They're not being challenged in the primary, but they will be given 3 minutes to speak. If you want to come on down, Jeremy and Dana, and they'll be available after the program for questions. So please welcome Jeremy Benson and Dana Moon up front here. You can stand or sit or stand on your head, whatever you prefer to do. Jeremy will let you go ahead first and introduce yourself.
Well, as Rich said, I'm Jeremy Benson. I'm the county clerk and recorder here in McDonough County. I've been in the position since December of 2024 when I was appointed to fill the position due to the retirement of our prior county clerk. Okay. Sorry about that. So I was appointed in December of 24, and since that time, been very active in the office, getting to know the workings of the office, getting to figure out what things work well, what things we need to do better, and work with my staff to try and accomplish those things. Nothing in my office would happen without my great staff. I mean, that's just the way it is. I couldn't do it by myself, and I can't speak anywhere without thanking them because they are truly part of the equation. For those of you that aren't familiar with the county clerk's office is often referred to as the office that nobody knows what we do until it doesn't get done. And so most of the time, if we don't hear from you or you don't hear from us, that's a good thing. But our office, we are the clerk to the county board. We handle all the land records and vital records for the county, birth certificates, death certificates, marriage licenses. I do tax extension and calculation for the county, so it's an important role for all the taxing bodies in the county to make sure that proper tax calculations are done and proper collections are handed off to the treasurer's office. We also handle all the accounts payable for the county, so we make sure that all the bills are getting paid. And last but not least, we do handle the elections for the county as well, so my office is responsible for the elections. We have really been working hard to establish a good working relationship within all of the elected offices in the county, and I think over the last couple of years we've really done that, especially this last year, working towards a common goal of more efficiency and just kind of keeping things going there. Couple of things that I wanted to make sure I pointed out tonight in talking with a couple of the organizers. We are, as it says on your flyer, your program, early voting has started. We started that on Thursday. Vote by mail ballots have been sent out in McDonough County, and we sent out about 960 of those. We're already starting to get some of those back. If anyone has questions about that, I'll be more than happy to answer questions. My staff is also happy to answer your questions if you stop in our office or give us a call. Also, the last thing I want to say is sample ballots are available on our website. Sample ballots will also be in the community news brief within the next 2 weeks, so everyone will be able to see that. If anyone wants a sample ballot specific to your precinct or to your location, you can contact our office, and we're happy to provide those so that you have an opportunity to look at your ballot before you go to your polling place. So, thanks for the opportunity to speak, and I appreciate being here.
Thanks, Jeremy. Next, we'll hear from County Treasurer Dana Moon, and yeah, pull that mic right up there.
Well, Jeremy made it easy for me. I'm just going to say ditto to most of his speech because I have a great staff. I'm Dana Moon. I am a lifelong resident of Macomb, and I was raised in a small family business, Jack Stites Pharmacy, and so I understand what small business and the small community means to us. I have both my bachelor's and master's at Western, and I worked at Western for 26 years before being appointed as treasurer in March of 2025, so I've almost made it a year. Some of the things that we've done, we have 2 new staff members, Sarah and Jessica, who are more than happy to help you out if you come in, but we've added credit and debit cards in the office, so you can pay your taxes or your dog and cat registrations via credit or debit card. Many of you may have gotten a text from my office. We now have a texting program, so we can push out messages of, when deadlines are and that sort of thing. And we've just made some other upgrades in technology and that sort of thing in the office. I have to put in a plug that registration for your cat and dog is actually due on Sunday, but we're going to give you till Tuesday, the 17th, to get those in. And that is, many people ask why. It is a state statute. Most of my job is governed by state statute. We handle all the money that comes in and then helping it go out to accounts payable. But I lost my train of thought. But we also then, after the assessor's office takes care of assessing all the properties, and Jeremy does the extension, then all the numbers come to me, and we print the tax bills and mail them out, and then collect the money. So that's the primary job of our office, and then in McDonough County, we also take care of the pets. Just to let you know, I live on a farm outside of Macomb with my husband Jeff, and we have 2 children, Devin and Caitlin. Caitlin is currently a senior here at WIU, and Devin has moved away to the Chicagoland area, but is doing well. That's what I have.
Thank you very much. That is your County Treasurer, Dana Moon, along with County Clerk Jeremy Benson. Thanks for coming out and participating this evening. The 2 candidates for McDonough County Sheriff are next. If you want to come on down here. We have the incumbent sheriff, Nick Pettigrew, and Joe Moon running in the Republican primary. And so please welcome them to the front here. Okay. Hello. We will begin with introductions, and Mr. Pettigrew, take it away.
Sure. My name is Nick Pettigrew. I'm the current sheriff here in McDonough County. Been with the McDonough County Sheriff's Office since 2007. Started off as a patrol deputy. I became a detective. Worked my way up to chief deputy in 2015. Was appointed sheriff in 2018 and was elected again in 2022. My wife Stacy and I met here in Macomb in 2004. We have 2 children, Jacob and Jackson. Jacob's currently in the United States Air Force. He's doing quite well. And Jackson is a freshman here in Macomb, here at the high school. Look forward to continuing the things that I've started at the sheriff's office. Really enjoy solving crime and being accessible and being out there for the community and doing lots of different things. Over the course of my time as sheriff, involved in a lot of different organizations, help out a lot of different people here in the county just to get them close to whatever services they may need. I'm very resourceful, so I like to help people. Even if I don't have the right answer, I like to get them to the right place. So, thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Moon.
My name's Joe Moon. I'm the Republican candidate for McDonough County Sheriff. I was born and raised in McDonough County, lifelong resident, 1994 graduate of Macomb High School, this very high school here. United States Marine Corps veteran in the reserves for 6 years. I attended Western Illinois University in Law Enforcement and Justice Administration. I was hired by the Illinois State Police in 1999, where I served 26 years, 7 months. My assignments included patrol officer, canine handler, regional crowd control officer, special agent general criminal investigations, special agent undercover and drug task force, assigned to the office of director of labor relations, and I was the president of Troopers Lodge 41, the second largest FOP lodge in Illinois. Thank you.
And again, we'll be accepting questions for the sheriff's candidates. If you have one, raise your hand and we'll get paper and pencil to you. We'll start with you, Mr. Moon. What's the biggest challenge facing the sheriff's department and how would you address it?
The biggest challenge I see facing the sheriff's department is definitely hiring and retention. It's a challenge facing all of law enforcement nationally. I would take proactive steps to look for ways to bring officers in, probably through larger area recruiting, and then work on ways to retain those officers. My experience in labor relations has allowed me to work on collective bargaining agreements and ideas to retain officers. Not necessarily monetary. There's a lot of things outside of monetary incentives to get officers to want to stay and work for you, the agency.
Mr. Pettigrew, the biggest challenge facing the sheriff's department and how would you address it?
Joe's right. The biggest challenge right now is recruitment and retention and hiring people. Illinois is a tough state right now for police officers. Trying to keep people local is difficult because if you're a police officer in Illinois, you can work anywhere you want. You can work anywhere you want. And you can probably do that for a higher rate of pay in a small county. So the key is to hire local kids, local people, local men and women who want to live and grow in McDonough County. But with that recruitment and retention, you have to give the opportunity within your department to become detectives, to become canine handlers, to become lieutenants and sergeants. And it's just a challenge that we all face. If we can keep our pay competitive, that is very, very good for us. And one of the things that we do right now at the sheriff's office is that our pay right now is very competitive with the city of Macomb, which does help us keep some people.
Mr. Moon, did you have a rebuttal or response to that?
No.
Mr. Pettigrew, the next question will start with you. What do you think about the Safety Act in Illinois?
Okay. Safety Act in Illinois, we had a questionnaire that was sent out. I'm very much neutral on the Safety Act for one reason only. It's not going to be repealed. So when you hear people say things like that, repeal the Safety Act, that's not going to happen. The majority party made the Safety Act so, and it's here to stay. So as a sheriff, you have to work within the confines of that law, you have to find and identify things that work and things that don't work. I've been very much a part of the 3 trailer bills that were passed here in the recent 2 years in order to get some things changed with the Safety Act. The Safety Act is taken away a lot of judicial discretion, which is something that we need to fix. And with the Illinois Sheriff's Association and some of my colleagues, we currently have a few ideas in place to work with the governor and to work with the moderate caucus in the State House and also in the Senate. So I think you have to take what's given to you. You have to do your best. There are some things in the Safety Act that do work, but you have to identify the things that don't and do your best to work collaboratively with people, to collaborate with people, and to address those situations as they come.
Mr. Moon, what do you think about the Safety Act in Illinois?
I would agree with my opponent. The Safety Act's not going away. You know, even if you wanted to change it, it's here just based on the current. If you look at the votes, if you know conservatives want to change it, but really I don't have issues with you know body-worn cameras. I think that they're a good thing. I don't have issues with monitoring police misconduct. You know, my biggest concern, you know, is with any legislative initiative that there's funding there to make that happen, and I believe there is now. So, yeah, the Safety Act isn't perfect, and changes can be made. You know, I also was involved in not only all the trailer bills, but continue to be involved in probably additional trailer bill through my still board position on Troopers Lodge 41 as a immediate past president. So we'll continue to improve it in ways that it can be improved.
Mr. Pettigrew, did you have a rebuttal or response to that?
No.
Okay, Mr. Moon, we'll start with you with the next question. What is the county's pursuit policy, and do you think it should be amended or changed?
The pursuit policy, I am under, if I understand correctly, they have recently changed some policies. The last pursuit policy I saw was probably from 6 to 7 months ago. I do believe the policy should be changed. I think it gives too much leeway and allows for chases when they're not necessary. I think that chases should always be monitored by a person not immediately involved in it, a supervisor, and it should only be for forcible felonies. And even when it's when it's an authorized chase, I think it constantly has to be monitored to make sure that you know the risk doesn't outweigh public safety. So there's a lot of cases you can always pick up later and catch the people, especially with today's technology. There are. Thank you.
Mr. Pettigrew, what is the county's pursuit policy, and do you think it should be amended or changed?
So currently our pursuit policy is very simple. We can only pursue vehicles for a forcible felony. One of the things that has happened here with the Safety Act is that aggravated fleeing and eluding is simply a traffic ticket. It is simply a traffic ticket. If you run from the police in Illinois, you get a traffic ticket. So pursuing vehicles in Illinois right now is not worth it. It's just not. So our current policy is written to where they can pursue a vehicle in the case of a forcible felony. However, that risk is always weighed by a supervisor. So they have to get permission to pursue that vehicle. And then after that, the supervisor determines whether or not they can then continue to do that. Thank you.
Mr. Moon, did you have a rebuttal or response to that?
Yes, only that in talking to officers within the department and former officers, it might be a more newer recent change, but that certainly wasn't the policy whether written or unwritten, with the McDonough County Sheriff's Office, certainly previous to the unfortunate fatality with the last pursuit.
Mr. Pettigrew, what are two main things that differentiate you from your opponent?
I'd say the first thing is born and raised in a sheriff's office. When I was a young man living in Joe Davis County, the sheriff there, Steve Allendorf, who's now passed away, went to high school with my dad. So I remember telling my parents I'd be sheriff someday. I was 17 years old. I just wasn't sheriff in Joe Davis County. So uncle, grandfather, I have spent a long time in a sheriff's office. Lots of different things that a sheriff is responsible for, to include civil process, the courthouse, patrol. The jail is a huge, huge, huge burden on a sheriff. Huge. So spent my time in the sheriff's office. Second thing that sets me apart, spent 3 years as the chief deputy, where I was the jail administrator. Spent time in the jail, understand the issues of the liabilities that a jail has, which is meds, meals, rounds. Those are the things that get you in trouble. So I have a very, very good background in the jail, and I think that right there sets me apart.
Mr. Moon, what are two main things that differentiate you from your opponent?
Born and raised in McDonough County. I have a love for this county. My whole family was here, lives here. My ancestors are from here. I'll die here. Other than that experience, I've got experience in every facet of law enforcement. There is. I patrol, investigations, undercover work, policy review, reorganization of the entire state police, working in the director's office, reviewing internal investigations, really just overall experience and bargaining to make agreements with the department, and just overall working in every facet of law enforcement.
Mr. Pettigrew, any rebuttal or response?
No.
Okay. Mr. Moon, under your leadership, how would or should the Sheriff's Office cooperate with ICE should they arrive in McDonough County? What would be your policy?
Well, the Trust Act and the Ways Forward Act in Illinois dictates how law enforcement will act and when it comes to immigration enforcement. And I will follow the Trust Act and the Ways Forward Act. Obviously, the county doesn't need any more lawsuits against them, and that's what that would bring. Other than that, if it was civil in nature, we wouldn't have any involvement. And I will tell you, the only involvement that we would ever have with with ICE or anybody else is if any officer asks for emergency assistance, we are going to assist to preserve life and people. But other than that, we won't get involved in ICE activities unless there's a criminal warrant and it's criminal in nature.
Mr. Pettigrew, how would or should the Sheriff's Office cooperate with ICE should they arrive in McDonough County? What is your policy?
So right now, the policy is law. So you have the Trust Act, the Voices Act, and the Way Forward Act in Illinois. We absolutely cannot participate in any civil litigation or civil immigration enforcement whatsoever. And there is even going to be more legislation that's probably passed this year that absolutely prevents us from doing anything related and that looks like immigration enforcement. So Joe would be correct. The law is the way. The law is the policy. We absolutely cannot help ICE, period.
Mr. Moon, any rebuttal or response to that?
No.
Let's wrap up this round of questioning. Mr. Pettigrew, 30 seconds to conclude.
Really would love to continue to serve and be a part of this county and do that through the Sheriff's Office. Love to solve crime. I love to be out there doing things. I have a lot of energy. I know there's some of you in here that know me quite well. I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of things to do in a day. I'd love to keep moving forward with the office. Love to continue to serve more than anything. Love to help people. Like I said in my opening, even if my office isn't the office that can help you, I can get you to the place you need to be. And I know a lot of you in this room know that. I think that just my experience with the office, my experience running the jail, my experience in investigations, I just feel like I would love to continue to do those things here in this county and work for you.
Mr. Moon, 30 seconds for concluding remarks.
I just want to say that, you know, McDonough County has a lot of problems right now. Multiple lawsuits in several different areas, not just one. You know, in the patrol section, in the jail, lawsuits internally, and a staff that, I mean, they've lost 6 people in the last 2 years. So, you know, I want to make the county better, and I have the experience and the resources through the state to do it. And, you know, that's what I want to do. Thank you.
These are your Republican primary candidates for McDonough County Sheriff. Please thank them for turning out. Three candidates are on the Republican ballot for Illinois House of Representatives District 94. The incumbent Noreen Hammond, Bailey Templeton, and Joshua Higgins. Mr. Higgins regrets he is unable to attend, but I believe we do have Noreen and Bailey in the audience tonight. Come on down. We'll begin with introductions. You'll each have 1 minute to introduce yourselves. And Ms. Templeton, why don't you get us started?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Bailey Templeton, and I'm running for the Illinois House of Representatives here in the 94th District. I think we can all be certain at this point that there are drastic things happening in all levels of government, and the people are really not being heard anymore when they're asking for help. Now, some people do get heard, but it kind of depends on what's in your pocketbook at these positions. And as a homeschooling mom, I've been teaching my 13-year-old son about government recently. And I've learned that there's a huge difference between government and politics. And unfortunately, politics has now destroyed what our government could and should be, which is for the people, by the people. And as the Illinois organizer for You Are the Power, it is my job to enforce constitutional rights within the state. And if someone has issues with any constitutional problems, I can step in and teach whoever is disregarding those issues or those rights. I can teach them what they're doing wrong and teach them that we actually have a constitutional republic where we do get to use that one article of legislation that trumps anything else that's been written. So I'm here as a fresh voice and someone to listen to the people and vote for the people and what they would like to have voted for.
Ms. Hammond.
Thank you, and first of all, thank you to the League of Women Voters and also to the Milo students for your assistance tonight. I started the morning with you all this morning, so I think it's only appropriate. Thank you so much. Good evening. I'm State Representative Noreen Hammond. I represent the 94th District in the Illinois House. I have been happily married to my husband Leonard for 47 years, and we have one daughter, Trish, that lives in Chicago. And I serve on a number of committees. I am spokesperson for the Human Services Committee. I am also the spokesperson for the Rules Committee. I serve on Executive Committee. I serve on Cybersecurity, Consumer Protection, and the Gun Violence Committee. So thank you very much.
And a reminder, raise your hand if you have a question for these candidates, and someone will come around with paper and pencil for you to write down your question, and we'll try and fit in as many as we can. Ms. Hammond, let's start with you. What can the state do to attract more businesses and jobs to this part of Illinois?
I think some of the most important things that we can do, we have some of the highest corporate taxes in across the U.S., and certainly that is one area that we could certainly lower our corporate taxes. And in addition, the licensing, to get a license for a business in the state of Illinois is nothing short of a nightmare. Typically, what takes 2 years in the state of Illinois to get your paperwork done takes 2 weeks in other states. So I think that there are many things that we can do as far as taxes and regulations to attract better business.
Ms. Templeton, what can the state do to attract more businesses and jobs to this part of Illinois?
I think that we have such an agriculturally rich area that we should be really pouring more into our farmers, into our agricultural business that we have here, as well as supporting the small businesses that are already open and having a clearer voice of what they need as well. A lot of our funding has been trapped in other parts of the state, and we really need to bring a lot more of that funding down here, specifically agriculture. I have been sending in Freedom of Information Acts all across the state to find out what type of money our school systems are receiving and what type of defaults they have and where they're lacking in finances. And we've got schools in our district receiving $1,300 an entire year on agricultural grants for their schooling. If we don't continue to keep pouring into the agricultural realm that we have here, we are going to lose it. At the same time, we have about 12,000 acres of Illinois being owned by foreign countries. And this is our farmland. If we keep giving up our farmland, if we keep giving up the land that our people have, we won't be able to bring back small businesses if our farmland's bought up by other countries.
Ms. Hammond, any response or rebuttal to that?
I have filed for the second year in a row a bill that would raise the farm tax exemption to mirror the federal level. Currently in the state of Illinois, that farm tax exemption is at $4 million. At the federal level, it is at $12 billion. So in an effort to make parity across the board for that, I have issued that bill, or filed that bill now twice. And also, we do put $5 million into our ag education line in the state of Illinois. It has not been raised in a number of years, and I think that that is always an area that we can do better, because agriculture is the #1 industry in the state of Illinois.
Ms. Templeton, Democrats hold strong majorities in the legislature. What could you, as a Republican lawmaker, do to make sure legislation that benefits your district is heard and eventually passed?
I think that's a wonderful question. I actually work on a bipartisan level with most of my issues that I've been covering, including missing foster children. There's 193 missing foster children in the state of Illinois. This information was uncovered with my FOIA work, the Freedom of Information Act, which is afforded to us all under the Constitution, but nobody's teaching children or adults how to use this anymore. When we are able to get transparency and clarity about what's actually happening with our taxpayer funds, we have a better way of rearranging what's actually going on. We pay in more than enough money. We just need to make sure it's going to the right places, and it's a very bipartisan stance to think we need to lower our taxes. And I think the issues that I'm highlighting in my campaign are something that can be heard across the board, and it's just a human rights issue. There's just a lot going on that's not being shown to the people, and my biggest goal here is transparency, and I've been working that way for over a year and a half now, and putting all of my information publicly online, just things that state agencies don't want you to know, but you're allowed to know. And that's where our waste, fraud, and abuse is really being held, is in our state agencies, and that needs to be addressed through all levels of legislature, as well as the judicial branch and the executive. We have a system of checks and balances, and it needs to be operating the way that I'm teaching my children it should be.
Ms. Hammond, what can you do as a Republican lawmaker to make sure legislation that benefits your district is heard and eventually passed?
So first and foremost, I can do math. There are 78 Democrats in the Illinois House and 40 Republicans. it takes 60 votes to pass anything in the Illinois House. So you have to have folks that you can reach across the aisle, you can have conversations with, you can, it may take education, but that can happen. And I have a history of working with folks across the aisle to get legislation passed that is important to my district and is the 94th district, and is important to the constituents that I represent. A perfect example of that is a bill that we had for proton beam therapy, and I was able to pass that almost unanimously by working with folks across the aisle.
Ms. Templeton, any rebuttal or response to that?
No.
Next question is for you to start off. How should we regulate data centers in Illinois?
That's a great question. I think that there needs to be transparency and clarity about what is coming into the data centers, what resources we're using with the data centers, and what's actually being put out. Also, it needs to be American-owned data centers. I don't think that we need other countries owning data centers in our state specifically. They're collecting a lot of data with these programs that they have. And once again, we have constitutional rights, and those include privacy. So I think the data centers, we need to have a clear indication of what's going on. You can't really trust the media on what's being said. You need to have an inside look on almost every aspect to figure out how you can fix it, in my opinion. If there is no transparency, we can't tackle any issue that we have.
Ms. Hammond, how should we regulate data centers in Illinois?
So data centers are here to stay. How many will be in the state of Illinois still remains to be seen. There are a lot of challenges with the data centers, not just within the security and the cybersecurity measures that are entailed in these data centers, but also the amount of energy that these data centers require and the amount of water oftentimes that these data centers require is not insignificant. Illinois is already challenged with our electricity and our rates and our capacity. And so if we continue to bring in more and more data centers, we will find challenges with that, and we will also find challenges with our water.
Any response or rebuttal?
No, sir.
Ms. Hammond, we'll start with you with this next question. Where do you stand on the development of wind, solar, and geothermal energy in our region?
So I think that wind, solar, and geothermal are certainly, you drive anywhere across the state and certainly the 94th district, and you will see wind farms, you will see solar farms, but at the end of the day, they are not going to be the answer to our energy needs here in the state of Illinois. The wind doesn't always blow and the sun doesn't always shine. Illinois has put in some energy policy over the recent years, and we did not have an integrated energy policy. We took coal plants offline, and we didn't have anything to replace that energy. And so I think it's most important that we have an integrated energy policy, and also that we respect a person's private property and not allow for eminent domain.
Ms. Templeton, where do you stand on the development of wind, solar, and geothermal energy in our region?
I think that we need to unleash American energy in a way that we have not seen in years. We have plenty of natural gas and coal products that we could still be retaining from the state of Illinois and bring it all back to Illinois. What we are doing is buying it from other states, and that is once again sending our money out of our state lines. When our country and our state specifically desperately needs our taxpayer money to go where the people need it to go, not to big corporations and big businesses who are making all the decisions for us. So I think if we unleash American energy with American-made people put back into this district specifically. We're watching our farmland get bought up, like I mentioned earlier, through the FOIA, and a lot of this farmland is no longer being used for agricultural land. It's being used for solar farms or wind farms. Eminent domain is a very important thing to me because it's super unconstitutional for them to put up different things like this on your property, especially with the medical testing that comes with it. A lot of these solar farms and wind farms, they're actually causing a lot of adverse things to happen to the people who live in a close proximity. And I think it's important that we unleash the energy that we're all familiar with and that has been good for us while we look into other sources of renewable energy as well.
Ms. Hammond, any rebuttal or response?
No.
Okay. Ms. Templeton, do you think the state is funding K through 12 education adequately? And please elaborate on why you feel the way you do.
I do not think that we are getting the correct funding for K through 8, and this is based off of FOIA work that I've done as well. I've spoken to many of the superintendents around the district, the 94th district specifically, asking them where they thought we had downfalls and shorts in the budget. And I've also received all of their balances, all of their budget data, all of their credit card expenditures, and I've been able to go through and see where there are actually issues. We've got a school in this district specifically that is mostly ran off the taxpayer dollars. I don't know why this happened, I don't know when this happened, but it's something that I'm wanting to look deeper into to see why our property taxes are the only thing keeping this school open at this point. And they're talking about needing to get some extra extensions on their taxes and not even being able to pay their taxes properly because they don't have the funding they need. The funding they receive from the school board, or from the Board of Education, excuse me, is going directly to salary, and there's not much left over to actually go towards enhancing the children, and the test scores show it.
Ms. Hammond, do you think the state is funding K through 12 education adequately? And please elaborate on why you feel the way you do.
I think that we can always put more money into not just K through 12 education, but education in general across the state of Illinois. Back in 2017, Illinois implemented the evidence-based funding formula for K through 12 education. That puts $350 million a year in additional funding for education based on a four-tier system. $350 million back in 2017 sounded like a lot of money. As we go fast forward and mandate after mandate after mandate on our schools, it is evident that $350 million is not adequate, and certainly they can always use more money. And I think that we have to look at our spending priorities, and where are those spending priorities? Are they for education, or are they for something else?
Ms. Templeton, any response?
I do, actually. I think that a lot of the funding needs to be directed at the K through 12 specifically, because if they don't get the funding they need and the teaching that they need on that K through 12, there won't be any college career for those children. And the statistics tell the truth that a lot of kids aren't going to college, and it's whether we didn't give them a good enough start in the school system or they just didn't feel supported financially as they went off to college. There's something going on where less and less kids are going to college, and that needs to be addressed in the K through 12 system specifically.
We'll now give you each 30 seconds for concluding comments. Ms. Hammond?
First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here, and I appreciate it. And I will just say that we are facing a lot of challenges in the state of Illinois right now, and experience speaks volumes. And to be able to tackle the challenges that we have, you have to have the history and the knowledge of how we got here. So I appreciate the fact that you are all here tonight, and if you live in the 94th district, I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.
Ms. Templeton?
Thank you all, and while I might not have 15 years of experience, I was taken to court over my petitions and they tried to throw me off the ballot. I represented myself and won that court case against one of the top Chicago lawyers. I'm a very fast learner. Nobody taught me how to do that. We did that ourselves by doing the research. I think that experience doesn't equal credentials. I think care, loyalty, and the fight that I've been putting in for the people needs to be seen. If you just Google my name, you can see all the work that I've done uncovering fraud, 725% increase in Medicaid spending, 66 million spent on children without registered social security numbers through Medicaid, and again, the 193 missing children in Illinois DCFS. Our elected officials have had time to fix these issues and they're not paying attention to them. So you need someone who's been through it, lost their child, and has a federal lawsuit to prove it, and someone who's ready to sit here and fight for you guys the way that I fought for my family.
Thank you to both of you for showing up and participating tonight.
Thank you very much.
We have two candidates on the Republican ballot for Illinois Senate District number 36, Brad Beekman and Patrick Harlan. Come on up to the front. While they're making their way up there, I'll remind you, we are taking questions. Raise your hand. We'll get some paper and pencil to you. Keep in mind, again, that the questions must apply to both candidates. They're not, we don't want questions just targeted to one candidate or the other. Please try and come up with questions that would pertain to both candidates. Thank you. Go ahead and be seated. The primary winner here will face the Democratic incumbent, Senator Michael Halpin. So please welcome these two gentlemen up to the front here. And we'll begin with introductions. Mr. Beekman, please take 1 minute to introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good evening. I want to thank the League of Women Voters here in McDonough County for holding the candidate forum. And I want to say thank you for all the proactive work you've done in our community. Your dedication over the years is clearly reflected within the many services offered here. And you truly care for your citizens, and it shows. So it's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Brad Beekman. I'm a retired Master Sergeant with the Illinois State Police and a current candidate for the Illinois State Senate District 36. I reside here in McDonough County, outside of Bushnell, where my wife, Bambi, and I live on a farm. We've been married for over 20 years, and together we have 5 children. I graduated from Western Illinois University and went on to work 28 years in law enforcement. Now that I'm retired, I enjoy spending time with my grandchildren, working at a local bank, attending church, and serving as an elected member of the Bushnell Prairie City School Board. The 3 pillars of my campaign are to be a voice for law enforcement, an advocate for quality education, and to support agriculture and small businesses. Thank you.
Mr. Harlan.
Ready? All right. Thank you guys for inviting us out tonight. I really enjoy this opportunity. So I'm Patrick Harlan. I'm from Galesburg, Illinois. I've been married to my wife for 28 years. We have 3 children. I'm from Galesburg, Illinois. I'm known as the blue-collar common sense fuel truck driver running for the 36th State Senate District. I jumped into this race because there's a lot of things that are going on right now that needs to be addressed, and you know, we can start with the Safety Act. I like to address those things. Our energy cost is extremely high, and our education system is weak. So I wanted to come out here and jump in this race to make sure that we get proper representation down there in Springfield. I feel like I can bring the best voice for that. So thank you guys so much. I look forward to this conversation.
Well, Mr. Harlan, since you mentioned the Safety Act, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so I feel the Safety Act does need to be repealed, reformed, and replaced with something more proper for the people because right now we currently have a situation where criminals are getting locked up and out of jail before police even get a chance to write the reports. We have to be able to address that situation. We have to have victims feel safe again. We got to have law enforcement have the support that they need. And I do believe that reform does need to be made, and it's not about the size of your checkbook, but it's also about just doing proper justice reform. And I think that's where we can get back to this common sense legislation that we got too far down the path to where we've allowed it to, it's out of control. So I want to focus on complete repeal, replace, and reform that Safety Act.
Mr. Beekman, what do you think of the Illinois Safety Act?
First, I want to say I'm also opposed to the Safety Act. I do understand the legislative challenges that face any kind of repeal or amendments to that with the governor and the current supermajority that they have here in Illinois. So regarding the Safety Act, just like the sheriff candidate said, it is here. We do have to work within it. However, it is time to be bold and courageous, so we need to shoot for that to be repealed. Knowing that, we may have to make amendments to work within it. I'm also learning, since I jumped in this race, there's a difference between policy and politics. Sometimes you can get yourself in trouble by going out there and really addressing policy. But I'll just say that Safety Act needs repealed. I do agree with certain aspects of it, with officers' disciplinary files following them, body cameras, and things of that nature, but the no cash bail and the detention hearings cannot be in our judicial system. Thank you.
Mr. Harlan, any rebuttal or response to that?
I'll just respond by saying I know we're going the right path, because J.B. Pritzker come out and said that he even says this is bad policy. The Democrats are realizing this is bad policy, so I know that people are ready for change, and they know that they took it too far to the wrong direction. So we are definitely moving in the right direction finally.
Next question, Mr. Beekman. Do you think the state is funding public higher education adequately? And please elaborate on why you feel the way you do.
I don't believe the state is doing enough to properly fund higher education. They have made some improvements in filing your FAFSA forms. So I do know that there are people that want to make that process easier for higher education. When I went to school, there was a lot more funds and resources available, such as the Pell Grant. A lot of the student loans were subsidized through the state and the government. They weren't private sector loans. That made it affordable for me to be able to go to college, and it made it affordable that I could pay those loans back. So I don't think we're doing enough for the public or the funding for the higher education.
Mr. Harlan, do you think the state is funding public higher education adequately? And please elaborate on why you feel the way you do.
I feel we get wrapped up in this whole funding adequately. Yes, I feel as if there's plenty of funding, just the return of investment isn't proper. I mean, a prime example is WIU. We have potential there for 14,000 students. We're sitting there with 5,000. You know, I mean, if we're going to be using money, let's make sure we're making that a world-class trade school, or making the best resources available and get that money kicked back into where it actually belongs. I feel as if we continue throwing money at something, that's not going to fix the problem until we figure out what the real solution is here. And constantly throwing money at stuff with no return of your value, we're not getting the results that we're looking for.
Mr. Beekman, any rebuttal or response to that?
No rebuttal. I'll just add that with the current enrollment at WIU, I think we're missing the mark on our recruiting. I think we need to look at the local kids that we have and address the talents that they have in agriculture and the trade schools. And Patrick is right. We have a lot of empty buildings there at WIU that could be filled with trade schools, and we really need to cater towards local recruiting.
Mr. Harlan, due to the elimination of SNAP funds, how do you plan to assist local communities with food insecurity for seniors and children?
That's a rich question. Honestly, we could actually. So here's I feel like the issue is that the elimination of SNAP funds comes down to, you know, the federal government exactly not working with the state government because the state's not fulfilling their obligation. You've got me twisted. You know, I'm twisted up on that one. So I have no solution. I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, Mr. Beekman, SNAP funds. How do you plan to assist local communities with food insecurity for seniors and children?
First, we need to look at the funding for the SNAP funds. Secondly, they need to be properly managed, and I think that can be done through private audits. We need transparency in our government, and we do need to work with the federal government. We need a state that moves towards having an orderly government and serving the health and welfare of the people. So I think there's adequate funding there. It just needs properly managed. It needs properly distributed, and those funds are necessary for our communities.
Mr. Harlan, anything else on that?
No.
Mr. Beekman, what can the state do to attract more businesses and jobs to this part of Illinois?
One of the things that I run on and advocate for is small businesses. During that process, I made a point to visit many small businesses here in Macomb, if not all of them, many small businesses in Monmouth and Galesburg. And the common theme was they're not designed to compete with large corporations, and they shouldn't have to. We really need a different set of regulations and rules for the small businesses that give them the opportunity to free up and compete. There's a whole issue with the $15 hour minimum wage. We hear of other bills that are being proposed to increase that, and our small businesses cannot compete with that. We really need to support them through their own separate laws and rules and regulations. Thank you.
Mr. Harlan, what can the state do to attract more businesses and jobs to this part of Illinois?
Cut the regulation, red tape, be more business friendly, make sure we bring our taxes down, bring our energy costs down, focus on our local talent, bring manufacturing back again so we're actually able to start producing something here and give people a reason to stay, and bring your housing costs, make it more affordable.
Mr. Beekman, anything else?
No.
I'm going to repeat a question that came from the audience in the last round. Start with you, Mr. Harlan. How should we regulate data centers in Illinois?
And I'm not a big fan of the data centers. It just sucks the life out of the area it goes into. It pulls a lot of energy, it pulls a lot of resources, it does pull a lot of water. I really feel as if we need to be making sure that we are regulating that properly, and of course make sure that is owned by the United States, and make sure that, I would love to see local counties have the say in what's going on inside their local jurisdictions, rather than just dumping these things inside of places and sucking the life out of these communities.
Mr. Beekman, how should we regulate data centers in Illinois?
I think the best way to regulate the data centers is to, first of all, decide where we're going to put them. And I think that's going to depend on our electric grid systems and the water that's available to run those data centers. So first we would need to strategically place those. As the other panel said, they're right, they're not going away. It's come to this where all this data needs to be stored and needs to be stored properly. Those data centers also create a tremendous amount of tax revenue for those districts. So while we are evaluating the logistics or the infrastructure to place those data centers, we also need to look at the communities that could use a boost to their tax base. Thank you.
Anything you'd like to add to that?
No, sir.
Mr. Beekman, where do you stand on the development of wind, solar, and geothermal energy in our region?
Continuing with the discussion from the earlier panel, I agree that we need all sources of power in Illinois. We have invested a lot of money in wind and solar. I don't agree with how it was necessarily invested, and I don't agree with how those solar fields, where they were built. But regardless, that's done. Moving forward, we need to look at improving the infrastructure into non-renewable resources, nuclear power plants, and we need to do that wisely and look at the waste that it creates, because there is no perfect form of energy. And there again, we need to invest in the coal plants. We have those resources here. We have the infrastructure here. We need to maintain it and support it.
Mr. Harlan, where do you stand on the development of wind, solar, and geothermal energy in our region?
Solar belongs over parking lots, not inside of cornfields. I believe that if you're going to have wind and solar, it needs to be on the same playing field as the rest of the energy. We shouldn't be subsidizing it as heavy as what we are. Let's make a fair, level playing field here to where it's all competitive. We need to be able to get our energy back up again. We shut our peaker plants off, so we're bringing in dirty coal from other states, sending our tax dollars across the state lines, and get our own coal going again. So when it comes down to wind and solar, put them over parking lots and keep them out of the cornfields.
Anything you'd like to add, Mr. Beekman?
No.
Mr. Harlan, Democratic politicians hold strong majorities in the legislature. What could you, as a Republican lawmaker, do to make sure legislation that benefits your district is heard and eventually passed?
Well, I believe there are three things that Democrats, Republicans, Independents all agree on. We all want to be safe, we all want more money in our pocket, and we all want our kids to be smart when they come out of school. Those are three things we can all work upon, and those are where I can work across the aisle on anybody with. So going down there, we can definitely talk about those solutions, and I feel like we can make it happen.
Mr. Beekman, Democratic politicians hold strong majorities in the legislature. What could you, as a Republican lawmaker, do to make sure legislation that benefits your district is heard and eventually passed?
We need leadership, proven leadership, and with that comes building relationships. And anybody that has experience in leadership will tell you, number one, you lead by example, and two, you do that by investing in the people that you work with and that you serve. So I would follow that by building relationships with the Democrats and fellow Republicans. You know, this job is not going to be easy. There's going to be a big learning curve should I make it through to the state senate to represent everyone here. And I'm willing to do that, but it comes from being respectful, building relationships, getting to know people, finding common ground, and discussing the laws that we can bring back to the people that will help us prosper.
Mr. Harlan, anything you want to add?
No, sir.
Time for concluding remarks right now. Mr. Harlan, we'll start with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you again for everybody for coming out here tonight. Look, we're on a situation here where if you want things to stay the same, continue voting the same way that we are. You know, keep the same leadership in there. We're ready for change. You want somebody who wakes up every day at 2 o'clock in the morning, punches the time clock, puts in 12 hours a day, you know, and then continues to go out here and campaign and fight for you guys at night. I'm that guy. This is what I do on a regular basis every day. I'm not going to stop. I want to make sure that we do succeed. I want us all to be prosperous again. I know for sure that when I go down to Springfield, the things that I can bring are the values that I bring to represent this district is what these true values are. I want everybody to be successful. And that's when you're ready for change, I'm asking that you vote for me here on March 17th. Thank you very much.
Mr. Beekman?
I'll just say that Illinois is worth fighting for, and our communities deserve to feel safe, our schools deserve stable and reliable funding, and our local farmers and small businesses deserve a government that helps them grow. Thousands of families that were born and raised here, that have raised their families here, are leaving Illinois. That's a fact. We have the highest property taxes in the country, yet we continue with wasteful spending. Our electric bills are climbing, yet we are tearing down our power plants. Our small businesses are expected to compete under the same rules as large corporations, so our policies that we currently have don't work. I would appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you.
Please thank these candidates for participating this evening. Thank you. I believe we have a couple candidates for Congressional District 15 here in the Republican primary. If you can come on down. In the meantime, I'll tell you, in Congressional District 14, there are 4 Democratic candidates, Jennifer Todd, Randy Raley, Paul Davis, and Kyle Nudo. These candidates had accepted an invitation to a forum this evening at Lincoln College, so they regret not participating here. The Republican candidates are Ryan Teberg and Judy Bowlby and incumbent Mary Miller. Miller did not respond to the league's invitation, but Teberg and Bowlby are here tonight, and we'll start off by introducing ourselves. Take it away, Mr. Teberg.
First of all, thank you for having me. Like you said, my name's Ryan Teberg. I'm the son of 2 union workers. So what that taught me growing up is what the value of hard work and kitchen table issues. And I think that that's ultimately what this race is about, kitchen table issues. It's taking money out of your pocket to utilize for government services, and we need to be better stewards of that. I was actually a Western graduate for my undergrad, so I've been here many times. And about me, I've been with the state for 13 years. I was a correctional officer, and now I was a teacher, and now I work in information security. I'm just trying to fight to keep your taxes local and bring more money into the district, and I'm trying to get us back to common sense.
Ms. Bowlby.
Good evening. I'm a lifelong resident of Central Illinois. Grew up on a small farm in raised by my aunt and uncle. I actually have to give them most of the credit for basically providing me the skills and probably more importantly the values to get through the a lot of life's challenges. And those were like hard work, knowing right from wrong, and then moving forward, knowing that direction, listening, and really trying to understand where the other person was coming from. I took those lessons to Eastern Illinois University, where I got my master's degree in clinical psychology. And I spent a number of my years helping people with problems. Then my career took a little bit different change. And for the next 30 years, I went into government affairs. And I spent the next 30 years actually negotiating legislation between Democrats and Republicans, and it can be done, I will tell you that. And it was to find that middle ground, especially for the middle class. And that has been the emphasis of my campaign.
You are both running against an incumbent in the primary, so we'll start with you, Ms. Bowlby. How would your approach to serving differ from the incumbent?
Boy, I can start a long list there. First of all, I would show up. Mary has not gone out to town hall meetings and answered questions. And this is a big area, covers 35 counties. And to understand what the needs are, you got to go out and talk to the people. And that's what I've been doing ever since I announced my campaign. That's the first thing. The other thing, and this is a big issue, is the community project funding issue. That is money that each congressman gets that can be brought back to the district. And Mary has not asked for those funds for the last 5.5 years. Now, just recently she asked, and I think part of that might be because she has some challengers and it's an election year. And the sad thing about that is that these communities need that money for infrastructure. They need it for schools. They need it for a whole variety of things, and that would be the first thing that I would do, because this district has lost out millions. The only district in the entire state that has not received any of those monies until just recently.
Mr. T-Berg, how would your approach to serving differ from the incumbent?
I would also echo what Judy said within community project funding. What I would also do, like she said, is show up. I came from a small town of 2,200 people. Politics is local to me. I just take it on a macro level. So again, this is money that's coming out of your pocket that should be coming back into the state, because that's roads, that's education funds. Like we keep talking about education. We need to bring that money back into the district. And my approach would also be is showing up. I want proactive government. What that means is showing up into the district. Maybe my staff will have a computer and a laptop talking to the sheriffs, the police departments, the community leaders, so they can find out really what the issues are, and then they can relay those back to me in Congress. To me, also, my approach would be, like I said, common sense, but also putting the district first. Second. For me, the Constitution comes first and then the district. And at the end of the day, we're fighting to solve problems, not create more of them. And it's not about left or right. It's about doing what's right for the district.
Would you like to respond?
No, I think actually I saw Ryan a lot on the campaign trail. In fact, he and I were basically the only ones out there on the Republican side campaigning. So I think we agree on more things than we differ. So I don't have anything more to add.
Mr. T-Berg, a question from the audience. Do you think Congress should do more to take back its legislative responsibilities under the Constitution? If so, how?
I'm a little confused on specifically what they're referring to on that. Really, at the end of the day, we need to support the Constitution, but we also need to support the people. The Constitution was the foundation, but where lawmakers have the opportunity to make good laws in retrospect of where maybe the shortcomings of that Constitution may be. So I think we just need to really focus what we do as policymakers to focus on the people and the districts and just put common sense solutions out.
Ms. Bowlby, do you think Congress should do more to take back its legislative responsibilities under the Constitution? If so, how?
I think the Constitution is a guiding principle for this country. And I watch TV every day and listen to the news, and I see things going on that I really question whether the Constitution is being followed. I think Congress has a responsibility as a check on the executive branch, and I think that when we look at that, that has to be the guiding principle. And I just, we could start picking out incidences. I think that we all come to mind when we wonder if we're going astray. And I really feel that has to continue to be the guiding principle, and as an American, that's what I would choose to do.
Mr. Teberg, would you like to add anything?
No, thank you.
Ms. Bowlby, what would you like to see done to bring down consumer prices?
I think one of the first things, and I think I'm going to answer this first with farmers in mind. This district has 31% of it with farmers. Farmers have been hit with the tariffs, and that has had an effect in terms of hurting their market for a year. The deal that was cut between China and Brazil literally cut farmers out of that market for a year. So they were left with trying to decide to sell their products for a lower price or store them, which was a cost. Now that trickle-down effect happens to you because the tariffs have also increased your grocery prices. I mean, I just saw where the cost of coffee had gone up something like 45% for the coffee drinkers in the room. So we are being hit with that type of thing. I think tariffs, it's not that tariffs can never be used, but they need to be used judiciously, and they should be used not chaotically, because that upsets the entire market.
Mr. Teberg, what would you like to see done to bring down consumer prices?
Shop local, for one. Supporting local business is the number one thing that I think that really we need in this district. There's a lot. I'm a small business owner, just like many probably people in this room, so I think that that's important to really focus our attention on our local government. We need to give tax incentives to businesses, but also to the employees. One of the things I see as a government worker is I work in compliance for information security, so I see where a lot of our money is being spent, and we're spending between $1,000 and $10,000 a computer at the state of Illinois, and I think that that's waste. We could easily lower that cost by actually addressing those issues of where we're actually using those government contracts. So that way we're better stewards of the government money, and I believe in transparency. I think people need to see, for one, where their money's going, but also we need to be able to show people, hey, here's where your tax dollars are being spent, so we can be better stewards of it. And I really, like I said, just supporting local business, but also giving tax incentives to trying to keep our taxes lower in Illinois, so you have more money in your pocket for your food and for your family vacations.
Ms. Bowlby, would you like to add anything?
Nope, I think that's good.
Okay. Mr. Teberg, what's the biggest challenge facing the 15th Congressional District?
I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's just one challenge. I think it's three. It's energy, taxes, and jobs. We need to have good paying union jobs in this area, which I'm a proponent for nuclear energy because that helps bring our energy bills, but it also creates nuclear energy. And then we need to bring our taxes down. We need to be better stewards of our money. And like I said, transparency. So I think it's not just one problem. It's multiple problems.
Ms. Bowlby, what's the biggest challenge facing the 15th Congressional District?
I would agree with Ryan in that I think there are multiple challenges here. Like I said, this district probably on the average has, if you take the loss of what I said, the community project funding, a lot of other congressmen got anywhere from $1 to $3 million a year. If you take that and you look at it over 5 or 6 years, you're out about anywhere from $6 to $18 million that could have come back, again, in infrastructure and in many other things. The tariff issue has hurt. I think you have a congressman that has not showed up for you, and I think that is one of the biggest problems here that you're facing.
Would you like to add anything?
I just would echo that. When you don't show up, you don't know what the problems are. And I think that's where Congresswoman Mary Miller, she only shows up for photo ops, and she shows up for when it's convenient. And I think that that's really what, I do think that is one of the issues, but like we both said, that I think there's more than one issue here that's facing the district.
It's time now for closing comments. We'll start with you, Ms. Bowlby.
When I was preparing for this event, I actually ran across a quote that was anonymous, and I believe it holds some truth. It goes like this: bad candidates are elected by good citizens who don't vote. I urge all of us to vote on March 17th. Remember, the power of the ballot box remains the foundation of our democracy, and your support will help me continue my career goal of working hard to solve problems for people of all walks of life.
Mr. Teberg.
The biggest difference, and I think me and Judy are both on the same page about this, is the district comes first. We're not chasing political views. We're not chasing clicks. We're focused on the district. And I think that's where me and her are very much alike. And I think also what separates us is that we can think for ourselves. We don't need to be told what to think. We actually can look at critical analysis and engage with the voters. And we don't have to be told by any party what's right, what's wrong. It's about doing what's right for the district. And I think that that's the most important thing in this area.
The 15th is a huge district geographically. Please thank these candidates for coming out here tonight. We would like to share that the Adams County League of Women Voters will live stream a Republican forum on this Thursday, February 12th, and a Democratic forum on Tuesday, February 17th, which will be live streamed on WGEM and also streamed on Zoom. Details can be found on the easel in the back of the room. In Congressional District 17, there are two candidates running in the Republican primary, Dylan Vansel and Julie Bickelhaupt. The winner of this primary will face Democratic incumbent Eric Sorensen in the general election. Mr. Vansel regrets he is unable to attend, but Julie Bickelhaupt is here tonight to introduce herself and speak for 5 minutes. So please welcome her as she makes her way on down.
Good evening. Thank you for putting on this event. It's a very nice event, and I appreciate the time to speak here in front of you. Yes, I'm Julie Bickelhaupt. I'm running for the Illinois 17th Congressional District. The reason I really truly chose to run was I wanted to be a voice for the district. Living in the 17th District, I've seen the inability for our current congressman to show up and to provide information when it's needed. I've heard story after story of the lack of presence, and I want to be that voice. I've had the same issue myself, being in local government as county board chair. I reached out to the office, had a conversation, and never heard back again. This is something that shouldn't happen. We need real people in this seat who can communicate with people within the district, find out what their issues are, and help them fix them to benefit the economy and the people of the district. So first of all, I'm a seventh generation farmer. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I have a small business, and I'm also county board chair in Carroll County. These things have given me the opportunity to be experienced within all of these different avenues that can resonate throughout the district. Like I said, I'm a farmer. We have a farm in Carroll County. I grew up on a farm, and it's something that I don't take lightly, something that I feel like I can resonate with. As I said before, agriculture is one of the largest or the largest economy piece within Illinois, but also the 17th District. We don't always work within agriculture, but it's supported by agriculture, and I do see that that needs to be healthy so that we can have family farms turn over, and as said before, family businesses and small businesses, they are the heart of our communities within the district. Some of the things I like to focus on through my platform are also cost of living, and as talked about before, energy is a huge problem. We do need to find other sources of energy. We've really shut down our coal plants, and we've put way too much money into green energy. At this point, there's solar and there's wind, and that's great, but they're supplemental. If you look at the percentage of energy that's used on our grid right now, coal is the highest. We've kind of removed the ability to use that by minimizing that in order to subsidize for solar and wind. Is there a place for them? Potentially, but they're going to be a subsidy to our other sources. And we need to figure out how to use those. As said before, coal plants have been shut down, and Illinois has some of the cleanest coal within the state of Illinois, or the United States, not just the state of Illinois. And what we're doing is pulling in coal energy from other states and not utilizing what we have. That's increasing our energy costs. And when you really look at energy, it's a domino effect. It moves on to trucking and then to food. Because if you're processing food, you have to have items trucked. You have to have energy within that plant. I think when we start at the top and we start dealing with energy and what our options are and how we can really open that up and use all of our options, that's when we win at the end of the day, and it fixes a lot of problems. Healthcare is an issue, clearly, and we need to figure out how to create policy to make that work for the people instead of for large insurance companies and pharmaceuticals. Different policy can be arranged there, and that program can be rewritten in order to benefit me and you and every one of us that actually need that program. The other thing that I'm really focused on is empowering parents. Empowering parents in education. We need strong public schools, but we also need opportunity for kids, for families to have other opportunities. And we need to figure out how to help them fund that. Not everyone learns the same way. Not every family needs the same thing. Not every child can figure out, they might not learn in the way that someone else can, and they might need a homeschool or they might need private school. So these are things that I think we can work on and use our resources to help support and bring forth. And when we're talking about, at the end of the day, what makes me different than my opponent in this race in the primary, firstly, I'm a county board chair, and I've had a little more governmental experience. With that, I have not raised taxes. I have not voted to do that. On the other hand, he has. This is something that I feel is important on a conservative side of things. Secondly, agriculture, I'm very ingrained in, and this district is very ingrained in. Thirdly, I live in this district, and my opponent does not live in this district, and I feel it's very important to live in the district to represent it properly. It looks like I'm getting the stop sign, so that's all you're getting from me today. But thank you for coming out. Please vote on the 17th and vote for me when you step into that booth, someone who lives in your district. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie, and thanks to all the candidates for showing up tonight. Charlene, did you have some closing remarks? She does, but she's in the back of the room. In the meantime, I'll let you know that Tri-States Public Radio live streamed this program, and it will be available on the tspr.org website. It will also be broadcast on Comcast Channel 15 from February 12th until the election. The schedule is printed on your program. Take it away, Charlene.
Thank you. As you look around this room, you notice a lot has happened. Again, I always thought I had a large teacher voice. Come on, guys. As I started, as you look around this room, you see that many things have happened. And you only see those of us who are standing at the mic and thinking that that is how it goes. That is not right. So I would like to ask you to patiently allow me to say thank you to the people who made all of this possible. I'm going to begin with my again, the mic. What was it about you? I could hear you all the way where I was.
Radio voice.
Radio voice. Is this better? Okay. I was also watching how he was speaking into the mic and hoping I'd pick up some cues. I'm going to begin with the members of our League of Women Voters Voter Services Committee. These individuals have worked to make sure that the communications went out to all of those candidates who might want to speak at this particular forum. I'm going to thank from the beginning where's our Vice President for the League of Women Voters, Barb Knox. Other members would be, and don't applaud after everyone, we would be here forever, and I want you to get out, okay, in a timely manner. The other individuals would be Jana Hayworth, Carol Gardner, did I say, okay, Carol Gardner, and there's one more, there are three of us. I don't count me, we know I was just there to entertain. Okay, but those members definitely were the ones who worked diligently to make sure this was pulled together. Then Barb sent out a SOS asking for refreshments. And I know that we have Kathy, or Karen, Kathy's here. We also have Elizabeth, and I want to make sure that I say thank you to and Barb, because again, not only does she do all of the setting things up, but she's also the one that makes sure that we get the cookies and that you have the napkins and that you have the tablecloths to cover the tables. These are the people from our team, but then we have others. I want to thank our gentlemen from the program here at Macomb High School. Thank you, Reed. Thank you. Don't tell me I wrote it down. DeMarcus. Thank you. Thank you. And I had it written. I should have read my notes. Thank you, Reed. Thank you, Emerson. I am next going to go to our greeters. We had Cindy and we had Erica. Thank you very much. We had our people who looked at our questions. That would be Sally, and I also have George. I believe, let me remember the people from the stations. We have Heather and Alex, and we have Dylan. All of these people made this a success. Without them, we would not have been able to accomplish what we did. But last but not least would be you, the members of the community. We're not talking to an empty room, and you can't begin to imagine how much we appreciate that. So thank you also for coming out in today's. There are refreshments at the back. Barb does not want to have to take anything home. I did. That would be Dylan. Thank you so much.
Nicely done. Just get up on that microphone.
Okay, thank you. And again, thank you. Said so many in preparation for today's meeting about how you were here and that you would handle everything. I wouldn't have to worry about anything myself.
Well, I was worried when I was told there were two candidates for the 15th. I would have to ask questions. I was scribbling stuff out, and then I had to read my handwriting when I was standing up
Well,
there.
as you can, but this is the thing. You were calm. You were cool. Yours was, the table waving mine in the air.
We all have our own style.
Okay, you can call it that.
All right, I got to
Thank you
catch a
again.
couple of people. Thanks,
course.
Charlene. Good to
Thank
meet you.
Good to meet you.